And my number five most surprisingly great transformer of 2018 is MMC's Feral Rex. The reason it makes this list is because it's a story to tell with it. Not really a good story, but a story to tell with it. So I got this off eBay, and the dude basically sent it combined in a box that was stuffed with plastic bags, and that once the bottom side was taped, but the top side wasn't taped. And my post office, which God knows isn't a good post office, basically sent the postman out. He was carrying it like a pizza. He was like, I'm sorry, sir. He was like, whoever sent this didn't tape it to the top, and we're not allowed to tape stuff because they basically say sabotage. And he was like, but here's your box. And he brought it to me and gave it to me like you would a pizza at a pizzeria. And if you notice at the top, right, I'll zoom in, it's missing a cannon. And so for this to have shipped in such a shitty condition, excuse my French, that it still came together. The joints are relatively tight and aged. The joints are relatively tight. It looks good, and the only thing that's missing is one of those top shoulder cannons. I gotta give this I gotta applaud this and say it has to get an award. This is my fifth best, my number five best Transformer 2018, just because it stood the test of time and the test of bad shipping and bad transportation. So Feral Rex, number five most surprisingly good Transformer 2018. Number four on my most surprisingly great toys of 2018 is New Age New Heroes Flipper, or their interpretation of Bumblebee. The company's called New Age, which is a new company, and this is an amazing figure. It's so small, but it definitely has a masterpiece transformation, great articulation, paint in all the right places, and a really good face sculpt. This is a really, really, really well done toy, and I'm more surprised just because it's a new company, and also because it's a legend scale, because I think for masterpiece scale, we look more as total quality of materials, whereas legend scale, we kind of look at how close is it to masterpiece as far as transformation, articulation, and stuff like that. And they created a mini masterpiece figure. And so if you watch any of my videos, you know, for me, legend scale, what I want to see legend scale be is a mini masterpiece type figure, and they nailed it with this. So number four on my most surprisingly great toys of 2018 is New Age Flipper, or their version of Bumblebee. My number three most surprisingly great toy of 2018 is MMC's Helion, or their version of Cliff Jumper. And if you've been with me through the whole video, you saw that another Cliff Jumper was my worst toy that I bought in 2018. And this is the complete opposite. So that one I was ragged on because it used a faux window to make it look good, but it had lazy engineering. This doesn't use a faux window, but it has great engineering, and the look may be a little off. But for me, my preference, I'd rather it be a little off, have great engineering, and not that heavy backpack, as we can see, versus the X-Transbox Toro, spoiler alert, that has that huge backpack and use a fake window to cover up the shitty engineering. Pardon my French again. So I was surprised. My number three most surprising great transformation in 2018, is MMC's Helion, their version of Cliff Jumper. My number two most surprisingly great transformer in 2018 that I bought is X-Transbot Savant, or their version of Skids. And just real short and simple, they define Skids. This, for a character that didn't have that many appearances in the show, I think X-Transbots really gave him life with this. Now, it's not perfect. You know, some of the articulation is off. Some of the face sculpt needs to be more defined, but this feels like a premium figure. The paint, the presence, and the transformation in car mode, you wouldn't even think it transformed. It looked like one of those model cars, and they just hit it out. My biggest problem with it is the face sculpt, but they hit this out of the park, and they gave definition to a character who didn't have that much definition in the source material. So kudos to X-Transbots for that. And their Savant, their interpretation of Skids, is number two on my surprisingly great toys of 2018. And the number one most surprisingly great toy of 2018 is not a toy this year, it's a company, Magic Square. Magic Square makes legend scale figures that look just like G1, transform pretty much like Masterpiece, and have a great presence, and just give you the feels all over in a smaller scale, legend scale. And I have, at the time of this taping, I think I have all of their releases. And I've only been disappointed in one, maybe one and a half. Cyclonus and Trailbreaker. I was disappointed in Cyclone and Trailbreaker. Kind of sort of disappointed in Cyclonus is alt mode, but I've been blown away by the quality, the sculpts, just the G1 feels I get when I look at these. And they have a lot of great releases. Like I said, I think they release up to 10, maybe more. But Magic Square has just been a great company, and they've been the highlight of my 2018 for Transformers collecting. And I know people gonna want me to say which one is the best one. If I had to pick, I'd probably say Ultra Madness, but they're all great. Ultra Madness just by a hair over all the rest of them. But my surprisingly great toy of 2018 isn't necessarily a toy, but a company, and it's Magic Square as a whole. I just use these as an example because they were the ones I had easiest access to. So good job, Magic Square. Keep up the good work. And here they are, my 2018 most surprisingly great Transformers. And these are figures that caught me slipping in one regard or another. So they all are surprisingly good for different reasons. Either they're made by new companies, or they just didn't come out with the pop that everybody thought that other toys came out with, or they're just older toys that have survived some type of trauma. Either way, they've made my list of most surprisingly great Transformers of 2018. And it's a really good list. And it goes all the way back to 2014, 2015 to 2018. And the interesting thing about this list is I had to cut some off. I recorded this and I had like 2 or 3 different figures. So it's way more figures that are surprisingly great than disappointing or bad. So again, it's just a great time to be a Transformers fan. And here are my 2018 most surprisingly great toys.